Hey there everyone, I'm Guy Maddin. Just alone in my kitchen in Winnipeg, Canada. Just filming an introduction myself. I don't even have a tripod. My camera's propped up on the collected stories of Tennessee Williams in a paperback form. And I'm all alone. I can't even look into the viewfinder, so I'm sorry if my framing is off. I wish I looked a little prettier. I don't have my makeup person with me. Anyway, I'd like to send a massive thank you out to all of you for showing up to watch the films tonight, the film or films, and to participate in this retrospective. I'm incredibly touched by, honored by the Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art, who are hosting this, organizing it. They worked hard to mount this production. Couldn't be more grateful. So anyway, welcome and thank you. If I seem tired, it's because I'm thinking of all the work my hosts have done in bringing this program to you. I want to say a few words about the pictures. I guess I was initially motivated way back in my late 20s. I was 30 years old when I finished my very first film. I was motivated to pick up a camera because of my obsession with the feelings that dreams produced in me. Not just while I was having them, but well into the morning and early afternoon of the day after I had the dreams. I used to have these really powerful recurring dreams. Many of them were about the death of my father, or rather, a dream in which my father hadn't died but was returned. And he hadn't died. In fact, he had just chosen to go live with another, better family. But he was alive. And he had just come home to pick up his glass eye, which he had forgotten, and a razor and some shaving lotion. And in these dreams, I had precisely 1 minute to convince him that he should stay with us, his original family, because we loved him and we were good. But he never did. The dreams always ended with him abandoning us all over again. But only in those dreams did I remember how my father's voice sounded. Only in those dreams could I remember all the tiny little physical gestures he made. So for a few hours after I awoke, certainly disappointed that my father wasn't really alive, and certainly disappointed to be abandoned once again. I felt like I had just been with him, even though it had been 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, because I had these recurring dreams for many, many years. After a few years, when I decided to pick up a camera and make a movie, it was that strange hybrid feeling, those two conflicting feelings of loving tenderness that I felt for my father, and anger and disappointment and pain that I felt at being abandoned by him. These dreams, which were both incredibly painful and beautiful, joyous and sad simultaneously, made me want to make movies that had this strange recipe. And of course they were surreal too, believe me, they were very strange. As strange as your dreams are, any day. And I thought, well, I'll never be a great technical filmmaker. My films are bound to be surreal, even if I don't want them to be. They're going to be full of bad continuity and surrealist, harebrained ideas. Because you see, as I approached my 30th birthday, I was still really only approaching about my 15th birthday. I was very immature. Not that there's anything wrong with 15-year-olds. I wish I was one. Note to self, get makeup person in the kitchen next time. Anyway, once I started making movies, it became a goal of mine, an impossible goal perhaps, to make people laugh and cry at the same time, viewers, and to make viewers laugh and cry. I knew it was impossible, but I thought this was a great goal. And then I saw Douglas Sirk's Technicolor work, Magnificent Obsession, Written on the Wind, Imitation of Life, I saw Joseph von Sternberg's Blonde Venus, and while watching these movies, I found myself incredibly moved by the condition of the characters in the movies, often weeping while watching them, making sure no one was watching me while I watched the movies. Tears streaming down my cheeks. But I was also laughing at the movies because I knew von Sternberg was making comedies. There's a too muchness in Sternberg that's hilarious. And in those Technicolor Cirque melodramas, well, you're just meant to be delighted by Technicolor. And Rock Hudson in Technicolor. Who can't laugh? Who can't but laugh at Rock Hudson in Technicolor? It's delightful. It's wonderful. Even in his dramas, there's something so mannered, so stylized, so strange. And yet these movies were moving too. So I felt that that feeling, that hybrid recipe of incredible sadness and incredible joy simultaneously. It wasn't exactly like my dead father dreams, but it was something similar. It was two opposites working together in ways that reminded me of literature. And these are the things that keep me going. That and my strange relationship with sound. When I started out, my budgets were very small, and now, almost 30 years later, they're just as small. And I like it that way. I like the artistic freedom that low budgets bring. And one thing I noticed very early, when I couldn't afford a set or a location, or was too shy to go to a location, there was a Winnipeg mosquito flying past, it was just a matter of unplugging lights or just pointing the camera up toward the sky and supplying sound effects that suggested the location. And pretty soon I realized that the suggestion of an image through sound is far more powerful than just showing it. Just the way, I guess, in the silent movie era, people's imaginations supplied voices for silent movie stars that could never be matched once they started talking. And just the way when your grandmother is telling you a bedtime story, the images provoked by her are far better than anything that could be supplied by a super digitized special effects movie nowadays. I soon learned to love cutting and pasting in primitive collage fashion, just like the Surrealists did with paper collages, photographic collages, cinematic collages, and sound collages. I loved making the audio collages that filled in all the corners, filled in all the missing pieces of my frame, the pieces of the frame that I couldn't afford to get, or was too shy to get. I love the alchemy of sound and picture together. And I love the idea of selecto sound, of just using one or two sound effects to evoke an entire space. Just the way a good writer will deftly, with just a couple of phrases, create a whole scene in your mind's eye. Just the right few sound effects can create a world. And I love that. Whenever I've been lucky enough to afford Foley artists to supply sound effects for me, so that I don't have to make them myself, they're very professional, these Foley artists, and they always supply wall-to-wall sound. If an actor crosses or uncrosses his or her legs, they study the fabric on the legs, and then they make sure they rub two pieces of fabric together exactly like those they can see on screen, and they duplicate that, and then they plant it in there and they make it as realistic as possible. But the realism doesn't interest me, really. And you can see that the actors just uncrossed or crossed his or her legs. You don't really need to hear it. It's unnecessary. A writer wouldn't mention that. It would be like a writer mentioning it twice. It's just not necessary. You see it, you hear it. You only need to see it. Sometimes you only need to hear it. And it's cheaper just to let people hear it. Anyway, cinema, I don't know, all these crazy, intoxicating, dreamlike effects, it means a lot to me. It's come to mean my life, and it's been very therapeutic, because I'm usually making movies about things that I'm obsessed with. And then the act of making the movie quite often cures me of the obsession, because it takes a year or two to make the movie. And you take something that's really emotionally important to you, and you just turn it into units of work. Scripts to be written, parts to be cast, camera angles to be chosen, storyboards to be drawn, editing, sound mixing, the release, then interviews, talking about it, talking about why you did it, telling the truth about why you did it, lying about why you did it, realizing that while you were lying, you were telling the truth about why you did it, confusing yourself, exhausting yourself. Finally, you're just cured of that obsession, and it's time to move on to your next project. Now, by the age of 59, I'm practically cured of all obsessions, but I have a nice little body of work that I'm not entirely ashamed of. I hope you like it. I hope you can, I don't think I ever did succeed in getting those exact dream feelings on screen. I never quite got the recipe right, but it's been an unbelievable adventure trying to get it right. And in failure, there have been some strange, accidental achievements. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot.